How you doing, everybody? Welcome to Sims Legacy Investing. We are a consulting firm, and we're just here to help you guys win. Right? My goal for our firm is anyone that we ever help and we ever meet to put them in a position where they can start earning residual income almost immediately. So a little bit about me and how I started this journey is that I'm the oldest of 8 children. Got 7 brothers, sisters younger than me, 4 sisters and 3 brothers. And coming up where I come up in, it was pretty much a rough environment. We didn't have a whole lot of productive people around. A lot of people wasn't really winning, and the ones who were winning, they wasn't putting no money else on. I say it because I know I had some family members who was doing all right, but wasn't passed down the knowledge that like they should have been doing, right? And then I have then the people who I grew up with in the streets and the neighborhood and everything. They was kind of on some dope games type stuff, and that just wasn't a good look for me because when I looked at them, they always kind of sit still. They wasn't really moving. It wasn't really growing, right? And I had 7 siblings looking at me to kind of see like, oh, what Big Bro gonna do because I'm going to follow suit. I was like, I want to set the best example for them. So I started cutting grass, raking lawns, being the candy man in school, saying, kind of starting that early hustle type of deal when I was 12 years old. And kind of help, just wanted to kind of help around the house, whether it's some bills or some things like that I could kind of help out with, I would, and because I want to be independent, I want to be my own man very early on. So that eventually led me with that mindset to start applying it in school, right? And school wasn't really going too far. So when I eventually graduated, and from high school anyway, went to college to try to do what I was always taught, go to school, right? I just realized that I wanted my own business. I want to make money, but everyone who's in school or not, they don't have their own business. They're not, being really extremely profitable. So why am I listening to them, right? Nothing wrong with that. Just for what I was looking for specifically, it wasn't a goal that was in line with me. So ultimately, I ended up joining the military, which was the biggest blessing for me because that allowed me to now get around different people and get around different sailors and different knowledge. You know what I'm saying? That people that I didn't have in the neighborhood. And those guys kind of shift my mindset around a bit, kind of be more disciplined, being more of an executioner when it comes to doing things and getting things knocked out. Whereas instead of being a procrastinator, right? I wasn't trying to be one of the people who just kind of stalled on everything. Eventually, I read a book, Rich Dad Poor Dad, that kind of changed my perspective on everything by Robert Kiyosaki, and that made me start thinking about everything as an asset or a liability. He talked about 2 things in there. He talked about network marketing and he talked about real estate. I dove into both. Real estate first though, and that back in 2014, I started bird dogging, basically looking for houses that was like pretty much looked abandoned, they looked messed up and everything, right? And I was like, okay, well, I could find out who this owner is by going to the county courthouse, find out who the owner is, and then send them a message. Maybe I could reach out to them and tell them I want to buy their property. Or I have somebody who would want to buy that property. That's how I started out. And eventually I got smart enough to realize that I could start putting things on the contract myself, right? Instead of trying to go to someone else who's considered a whale who had the money and let them buy it and give me a little profit of $500. I ended up doing that in California, San Diego, and I got my first deal after a year, and I made $50,000 off the deal, which kind of blew my mind. It took me a year to find this deal though. So I was like, man, I gotta find something a little more consistent, something that's gonna let me have more profits a lot early on. So this is why I was still active in the Navy, by the way. So I left that, moved up to Washington State, and I became a real estate broker. Took me 3 months to get my license to broker, and that was off to the races with that. And then I realized there's a lot more limitations that come with being a realtor. Your profession, your license is online, so certain knickknacks here and there that they want, blue tape that they want you really participating into as a realtor. I didn't like the limitations. Grown past it now, my wisdom grown a lot further than that. This is back in 20 at the time that was 2017. But that's how I was thinking back then. So eventually I got to the investor side of things where I could start get rental properties and start fixing them up and renovate them, then rent them out, right? It's what they call the bird strategy, right? When you buy, you renovate, you buy it, you remodel it, you refinance it, and then you repeat. That strategy I now teach my students and my clients. Now I teach you guys how to any money that we get acquired to. I teach you not just how to get to the money, but also where to invest it. And that's something a lot of these quote unquote gurus won't let you do. They'll show you how to get funding, but they won't teach you where to do it. And my target audience are people who don't people who know what to do with the money. That's awesome. I help you get there, but I'm really focused on trying to help the people who don't know where to start. right? Because I know what it's like to want information and want to get to the next level, but people not willing to really go on the limb to help you get there. And so I wanted to be that source for you, right? So that's about me as far as like how I came up and everything, how my mindset was when it came to kind of want to be thriving and be successful. Then after that, I kind of want to dove into business credit. So first, when I was getting these rental properties, I was doing my own cash, right? I would save with the money, then get a deposit, get creative with the financing and stuff like that, and say, hey, owner, if you hold on to this property and let me give you a down payment, give you a 10% down payment of what you want for it, then we got a monthly payment, and I got 5 years to pay it off for you, which is called a balloon payment, right? And I teach my students about this all the time, and they would agree to it. Then I put down, on $100,000 condo, I put down $10,000, got the condo, and then the mortgage was $300, but I rented out for $1,500, right? So I was making that cash flow, and I was paying off the mortgage as well. So that's pretty much those type of deals is what I started doing. My net worth at this point in time, that's like around like 800,000, close to a mil. We on track to closing another fourplex and putting us at that 1.5 million mark this year. But it's all a journey, it's all the growth value, right? So I eventually learned how powerful credit was, which is why we built this whole brand about financial literacy, of course, but we teach people how the importance of credit and business funding, right? Getting everything in your business credit side instead of your personal credit side, right? So when you do that, now when you max out a business credit card for remodel or anything else that you want to do, maybe purchase a property, whatever you're trying to do, it won't tank your score like you would do if you got to deal with your personal credit card, which is what I did the very first time, right? So I learned that lesson for you guys. So you're welcome, right? Basically, that's what I do now. One, we get your credit cleaned up if it isn't already cleaned. We help you clean it. We got a team that help you clean your credit up and makes you spotless, right, with no derogatories, no negatives, anything like that. And then after that, we start helping you build your profile the right way, structure it the right way. So make sure you have like the 7+ accounts, right, 7 to 10 accounts. Make sure that you got a good mix of accounts, some installments, some regular loans, and some revolving accounts, right? Then we also make sure you got at least 2 credit cards that's $4,000 plus, right? And then we also make sure that you have like a authorized user or something that shows you got a lot more history, more skin in the game, right, for a longer period of time, like so you can look responsible to the banks, because when we go to these banks for this money, that's what they're gonna want to see. They want to see how responsible you are, right, through your track record. Okay, so that's what we do. We end up getting your credit structure built out the right way. Then after that, we make sure you have an LLC or S corp open up, right? If you're not making $50,000 a year, then you want to be an LLC. But once you hit that 50,000 plus mark, you want to be an S corp, right? We'll teach our students about all that later on. But once you have that entity created plus that phenomenal credit score, now you're in position to start getting some business credit, right? Then we start going to these banks, and we do the credit card stacking method. Why? Because that's the best way for beginners. If you want to go to line of credits and the business loans, the SBA loans, they want you having 2 years plus, and they want you having documentation to go with it, like tax returns of you being profitable. A lot of people, 80% of my business and my clients don't have that. So I wanted to create a model so that every single person get funded, no matter where you began, right? So we do the credit stacking method. So we go to different lenders that pull from Experian up to 4 people. So maybe like 10,000 here, 10,000 on each other. It's 40 grand from Experian, 40 grand from TransUnion, another 40 grand from Equifax, right? 10 grand each. That's on the low side, right? If you got a very fresh profile that's built. So I just said it. That's realistically, that's what we're looking at, right? Sometimes we get higher than that, but it just depends on the lender at the time, because the banks are always changing their requirements and the things that they want to be going on. So and we can't control that, but what we can control is the system method that works, and we show you how to invest it so that you don't blow it or default. So then they won't go even more tighter on their requirements, right? So anyway, so we get you the the 120 grand, 40 grand for all 3 bureaus, about 120 grand, right? Then we delete your increase, because now that all your cars on your business side, that means only thing that's showing up on your personal side is just the increase. And since we clean credit, we'll clean those increase for you, right? And we include that in the service. So you'll be start back down to 0 increase when you get done with the first wave. Then we'll do it again, right? So that 120 turns into 240. Okay, and now that you got these all business credit cards and they're all 0% interest, it's like, okay, this is awesome, but I got a time limit on when I'm gonna use this money. Well, lucky for you, if you don't already have somewhere where you're going to deploy it to make a huge return, we know where to put it so that you get a return, right? And for us, we do tax deeds, and rental properties of that nature, right? I get my properties from the county, and after that, I remodel them. Then we refinance out of that. So since you already got good credit and you don't have a high debt to income ratio because all your stuff is on your business side, not your personal side. Without a bank, they're gonna refinance you as much as you want to refinance. So you refinance, take the equity out the property. We show you how to find the right property, right? The ugliest house in the nicest neighborhood, what they like to say. All right, we get those properties, we renovate them, clean them up, and then we refinance to get our profit back, and then we move, rinse and repeat, right? But since you're using 0% interest on the business credit cards, you're not using none of the money out of your own pocket, right? It's all under the credit cards. So 0% at that, so you're not paying any interest on it. Your monthly payment is only 1% of what the card is. So if you got a $10,000 card, 1% of $10,000 is like $100 a month. You know what I'm saying? Light work, right? And not to mention, we have contractors in a bunch of these states already. So that's pretty much how we will rinse repeat. That's your credit portion of it. That's your getting funded portion of it, right? And then that's also your exit strategy portion of it, right? And then now you just run it up. Now it's about how many properties can you find at a time. And having the right connections is everything, because there's certain things you may want to do when it comes to refinance. Not everyone could just refinance. You probably got to be worth a certain amount in order for you to refinance, at least $150,000. So you got to be able to do the research on the front end to see what property is worth that much before you go out and buy it. That's the type of guidance that you won't just know on the front end. That's the type of guidance that us as a mentor and as a big brother figure to you is gonna make sure that you don't mess up. You know what I'm saying? So that's how we do it. And some people, man, I don't want to rent a property out. I don't want to control anything like that. Okay, that's cool. That's all right. Whatever you can lend it to us, and then we'll give you a 20% return on it. Every 6 months we give you a 20% return on whatever you invest. So if you give us $100,000 out of the business credit fund we just gave you, then in 6 months you get $120,000 back, right? So that's pretty much how we be like to help every single person. Right now you don't got the headache of doing anything with the property. You just letting out the money. You just help me get approved for, and you get it back, right? So that's how we like to help our students out. I hope that was of value for you, right? I just want to give you a great introduction of who we are, what we're about. God-fearing man. I got 3 kids, and my wife that I've been with since I was 15. We were dating since 15, and 36 now. Been married for going on 12 years this year. So, pray for us, right? We're still growing, right? But I'm just sick and tired of people following those who, well, I mean, not even that you're following, but you listen to those who don't really want to see you win, right? And we've been blessed to accomplish a lot through the people we've been going through, trial and error. I got bamboozled on a lot of people, but that's okay, because I always learn something. So make sure that's the mindset you have, is that you, even when you lose, you really win it. You're never really losing, because you always learn something at the end of the day than where you were at the beginning. Right, the money I blew on some of those courses, mentorship that I learned from other people, it didn't make me any money, but it gave me to start thinking of a different perspective, start getting a little bit more creative than I were before. So that's how I was able to eventually scale to where we are today. Now we're in Florida, Jacksonville, Florida. We're living pretty lovely. You know what I'm saying? Don't have a stress in the world. We don't work a job or anything like that. Me or my wife. We homeschool. The kids are doing well. Go on vacation they want to go to, and we get to be close to our family members that we really love and care about. And now the goal now is to now put them on the level so they can start repeating what we've been doing, right? The ones who want to follow, right? Because not everyone's going to want to eat. Okay. And when we got some more wisdom to share, you know what I'm saying? That's pretty much a breakdown of how we got things going. But there's we also put insurance in there as well. We'll show you how to double your profits and everything like that. So stay tuned, and like and subscribe to the channel and comment, and if there's any more financial issue that you would like to learn about, let me know.